Okay. Episode 3. Here we go.
All right.
All right. So
Oh,
today's episode is sleep paralysis. Um,
yes.
Now, sleep paralysis is defined as a phenomenon where a person is temporarily unable to move or speak while falling asleep or waking up, even though they are conscious. It can be frightening, but it's generally harmless. What happens during sleep paralysis? It occurs during transitions between wakefulness and sleep, often in REM or rapid eye movement stage of sleep where dreaming is most common. During REM, your body naturally experiences muscle atonia, a kind of paralysis that prevents you from acting out dreams. If you become mentally awake before your body regains movement, you experience sleep paralysis.
Okay. And coming to us from Google AI, it says sleep paralysis has long been a subject of folklore and cultural interpretation, with many cultures attributing the terrifying experience to supernatural entities like demons, spirits, or witches. These entities are often described as malevolent beings that immobilize the person and induce feelings of dread and suffocation. The term nightmare comes from the night hag or the old hag, mare meaning demon. In the Germanic and Slavic folklore, the word mare is a demon that causes nightmares and can drain the energy of people and animals.
I love that. I love that you found that. I think it's cool that they come from like I think from my perspective sleep paralysis comes after a nightmare, but
Yes.
it's absolutely the opposite. Like sleep paralysis came first and nightmares grew from it. I think that's
Yes.
cool.
Yeah, the term nightmare has everything to do with sleep paralysis. It was their way of explaining it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's cool. Okay, so I believe you have some stories.
I have some short stories, personal sleep paralysis encounters, not mine, my husband's. It says he experienced 3 overall, but he can't remember the first one. I can't remember the specifics of it. The first one that he can remember is at his friend Adam's house. They were staying in the basement on a sectional couch, and he was um, like his friend was already asleep, and my husband was falling asleep, and then he saw a purple spot, object, smudge in his peripheral vision that caused him to look. And when he looked, then he couldn't move, speak, or scream. He said it seemed like he tried saying his friend Adam's name several times over the course of he said maybe it was only 5 seconds, but it felt like minutes. And then before he could say anything, finally he screamed Adam, and only the back half of the name came out of his mouth. Finally, when he did finally say his friend's name, his friend woke up and he told him what he saw, and his friend just said, "Oh yeah, my house is haunted," and fell back asleep.
No way. See, and sleep paralysis, I always thought until I had my own experience, I thought sleep paralysis was like, oh, it's never going to happen to me. I don't have to worry about it. That doesn't bother me none. I'll just hear scary stories about it, but no phase until just what, like 2 weeks ago. But
Yeah.
here I'm going to tell a story I found on Reddit. It's the OP titles it, I just had the worst sleep paralysis I think a human can comprehend. All right, so this is a little bit of a long one,
Okay.
and I struggle with reading sometimes, so don't laugh if I mess up a word or two.
I will not laugh.
All right, let me get the there. Okay. Before I start, I want to say I have lucid dreamt before, not intentionally, but I have. Also, I have had sleep paralysis twice before. They both were normal ones where you saw a shadow appear and hold you down. Now I'm a high school senior and I play football. We had a game moved to Thursday and I still had to go to school on Friday. On top of this, I had a test that I know I did extremely badly on, which isn't normal for me. But Friday night, I went out and had a good time with my girlfriend. I'm now basically a high schooler. I know I'm basically a high schooler. Oh, I think he's being cute. Um, I went home and stayed up until 1:30. Extremely tired, but just didn't want to sleep. I took a maximum power sleeping pill because I battled with sleep issues in the past, and these pills are normal to me. I went to sleep, and it began. I fell I fell asleep in a dream. I'm not sure exactly how or why, but I know I did. Then I woke up in the dream, but when I tried to leave and go downstairs, I woke back up in my bed, still in my dream. The second time it happened, I realized I was in a dream and jumped off the stairs and basically clipped out of the floor like you were designing a video game level, and I was again stuck back in my bed or sucked back into my bed. This is where things got horrific. I tried to wake up. I enjoyed lucid dreaming and was fully conscious, just as if I was living in that moment, but I couldn't wake up. I tried to turn on my lamp beside me, but it wouldn't turn on. So I got up, walked downstairs, and yelled for my mom, but it was depressingly dark, and I was once again sucked back into my bed, awaking. I got scared, and then the demon came out. I never saw it, but I hope to God I never encounter it again. It laughed at me, chased me when I got out of my bed. It had complete and total control over me. This continues for a couple minutes as I try anything to wake up, pinching myself, throwing myself down the stairs again, and jumping out of my window. Each time I woke up, I tried to turn in my phone, turn on the light, and run out of the bed downstairs and scream for my parents. Sorry, that was a tough sentence. Nothing worked. But what frightened me further was when I heard my dad walking up the stairs. At first I thought he was coming to wake me up in reality, but I realized it probably wasn't, and I panicked hard. I threw a pillow on my face and screamed for my life, trying to wake my body up or anyone in the house that could hopefully hear me. But all I heard were my whispered screams. My dad walked into my room and grabbed me. It sounded just like him, and he told me nicely to wake up, but I kicked at him and still tried screaming before waking up again. I then just laid in my bed in defeat, the demon laughing at me. I picked up my phone and just stared at the blank screen before the demon told me that anything I had in my hand wouldn't be there when I returned awake. I'm not extremely religious, so I didn't believe him, but I had no reason to not fear it would happen. So I threw it across my room, but it teleported back to me. I didn't pick it back up, but used it off the bed. Pushed it off the bed, I'm assuming?
Probably.
The demon then said that it would kill me if I didn't go get it. So I jumped on the floor and got to get it, but it plumped me right back onto the bed. It laughed at me, and I sat there absolutely horrified. The dream felt like it lasted 4 hours, and that to me is why it was so terrifying. The routine of checking my phone, getting up, running downstairs literally felt like it lasted hours of just that. All the events that happened were hours apart, and events is in quotations. But I finally woke up for real. When I did the routine of checking my phone and trying to turn on the lamp, except it finally turned on. Then I pinched myself just to be sure, and I was so relieved. I was out of breath and had a cold sweat. The dream only lasted 30 minutes. It was 1:05 when I woke up. Anyways, I wanted to share my experience with people who might have had something like this happen to them. If you want to ask any questions, feel free to ask, as I'll try my best to respond. I want to see if there's any comments. This is what I was thinking. Okay, so I didn't fully read this whole story before I picked it, so it kind of fooled me. But the first commenter says, what you experienced was not sleep paralysis, but rather a series of vivid false awakenings, which caused you to panic the more and more it happened. The reason the demon, quote unquote, was present was because you were scared and panicking. The simple thing to do in this situation is take control. It was a lucid dream, essentially, so if you had stood up, told the demon to stop, and really meant it, then it would, and you could take control from there. It's definitely a scary experience, but it was brought on from panic that you started to feel after being through the loop and not being able to get out of it. I hope this helps. I hope this helps if this ever happens to you again. Just gotta take control of it and keep telling yourself it's a dream and it can't hurt you. And that's what I was thinking. Like halfway through the story, I was like, wait a minute, this isn't quite sleep paralysis. This is more of a vivid, lucid.
It makes me think of that movie Insidious.
Yeah,
a little bit, because he's out of his, he wasn't out of his body. The original poster is not out of his body, but something else was trying to take over the
astral
body.
projections theme is kind of there.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah. So that's not to be clear, that wasn't quite sleep paralysis. My bad for not reading the whole thing. A professional would have. But there's I'm looking at other comments. They're all kind of just saying it's more of a lucid dream than sleep paralysis. Sleep paralysis is when you're in a half awake, half asleep state, and you feel, a lot of people feel a shadow or demonic presence in the room with them, and they feel a pressure on their chest where they are like awake but can't talk or say anything. They can't move. And there's pressure on their chest to make it hard for them to breathe. Like, that's what I think of when I think of sleep paralysis.
Yes. That is what, when you look up sleep paralysis and some of the other things that I had read, it talks about, it usually happens either as you're falling asleep, as we kind of heard in my husband's story. He was starting to fall asleep. His friend was already asleep. Or when you're just waking up. And his second story, I don't know if you want me to go ahead.
Go for it.
His second story is when he was waking up. So his second time that this happened to him was while we were dating. He was staying at my dad's house with me, but not in this. He was in a different room, so I wasn't anywhere around when this happened.
Yeah.
He was staring at the ceiling fan after waking up, and it was moving, but it was as if it was moving as slow as possible, almost like in a slow motion, if you can picture that. Then the room, he said, a shadow crossed like across him, and then the whole room kind of like darkened.
Ooh.
And then he couldn't move or yell.
What did he say, like how we got through it?
It was kind of the same as the last time. He just kept trying until something came out.
Yeah.
Okay,
well, I'll tell. That's creepy. I don't like sleep paralysis at all, and now that I've experienced it, I'm even more afraid of it. Like, at first, like I said, like, it would just go over my head, like, it's not gonna happen to me. It's scary, but I'm good. I'm safe. I'm fine. But I think also something about this space is different than, because, story time, quick. I just moved here to the place where we're recording, and I've only been here about 2 or 3 months, maybe.
Okay.
And and Acella's seen my old place, and in my old place I had nothing. It was all chill vibes. There was nothing off there. There was no, like, the air wasn't, like, the energy wasn't off, and nothing. It was just a plain old house that was fine. It was chill. It was good. But here, there's a different kind of energy, and I don't know if it's because I'm located kind of downtown, where a lot more of, like,
more
people have been, and lots of things have happened, and you know what I mean. More of the like structure of the city started.
What could be considered like college housing, even, because you're close enough to the university,
right?
Yeah.
So there's a lot of stuff going on in this area, and where I lived before, it's kind of just a simple residential area. But anyway, so the energy here is different. I feel it sometimes. Like, I don't feel it all the time, but I know that it's just different than what I'm used to. So, into my story. Well, my partner was staying the night. I see him like every other weekend, sometimes every weekend. It just depends on his schedule. But I don't sleep really well. I'll wake up probably 2 or 3 times in a night, just because I don't stay asleep. Once I finally get to sleep, which takes forever, I never stay asleep. I'll always wake up a couple times.
I'm the opposite. My anxiety, like, I don't fall asleep like a normal person. I have to pass out. And then once I'm out, if anything disrupts my sleep, I have a really hard time falling back asleep.
Yeah, me too. So well, I was asleep with my right hand under my head, like, propped up against the pillow, and then I was kind of sprawled all over the bed, and then my, like, left shoulder was kind of on my partner's chest, kind of, and my eyes were closed. For some reason, I was in a weird state of fear. Like, I was awake, like I felt like I had just woken up, but I was too afraid to open my eyes. I've never felt like that, where, like, I've never felt fear to the point where I was not going to open my eyes at such an early wake state. Like, I'd just woken up. So I'm sitting there awake with my eyes closed, just sensing something around me. And I can't move, and I don't attempt to say anything, so I don't realize I can't speak yet. Then I feel this colossal mass of energy to the right of me, to the right of my bed, that was as high as the doorway. And mind you, my door comes inward.
Yeah.
From the outside. If that makes sense. My door isn't close to my bed. You know what I mean?
Right.
When you open it, it's not close to my bed. So it wouldn't have been the door, that door itself, that was giving me that, and like that colossal presence. And it was dark, and it would lean over the bed, and then my heart would start to race like rapidly. Like my palpitations would get really bad. I would like start to like get a tightness in my chest where I couldn't really breathe.
Like something is sucking your energy?
Yeah, and then it would rise up and then back off me, and then I could breathe again, and I was fine. But the whole time I'm trying to wake up Jesse, that's when I realize I can't move or nudge him or speak. I can't get him to wake up. And then I sigh, like I make this like kind of sound. And this feeling starts all over again, and I feel this immense presence to my right leer over my bed, get really close to my face. I could feel it. Like it felt like I could almost feel breath on my face. And then my heart or my chest tightened up, and like my breathing got like you know what I mean? Like it was hard for me to breathe.
Yeah.
And then and my heart palpitations and all that, and then it stood up straight up and backed off me. And after that, I finally I stirred a little, I could move, but I was so tired from like being so scared that sorry, my phone just went off. I was so tired and exhausted from like the fear that I just like passed back out. And that is like weird in itself, because I wouldn't be able to fall asleep that fast if I was just regularly woken up. So that, and I told Jesse about it, my partner, the next morning and everything, and it was just creepy. I've never had an experience like that in this space. And I've had, like, when I was little, I was really in tune. I was like really, like, my intuition was great when I was a kid. Like at our house on West Tiffin Street in Fostoria, like, you know, that house that I lived in, I think when we first met, that house, I probably shouldn't say exactly where it is, but that house was definitely haunted. And I've felt and seen a lot of different like beings and presences and manifestations there of being. So it didn't scare me back then, but having it happen out of nowhere in a place that is brand new to me, and like just it never happening before, really kind of tripped me out.
Yeah. Well, what you're describing kind of sounds like and I mentioned it earlier when we were talking before we started recording, was an incubi or succubi. In Greek culture, and then later medieval Europe, they included the concept of incubi, which are male demons, and succubi, which are female demons that would torment sleeping individuals during a sleep paralysis episode. So they're almost two separate things that are linked, and not like most the succubi and the incubi don't cause the sleep paralysis as much as just take advantage of it.
Yeah, that was.
And you were saying that like you felt like your energy, like something just made you exhausted. So that's what it sounds like.
Right. I didn't even think about that either, but that's totally plausible, because like I did feel just like all of my energy was gone. And like I have pretty good energy. Like I'm pretty like nonstop, go go go. Like I can't ever sit still. But like
thanks anxiety,
because of that, because and that's why I have trouble sleeping, is because my anxiety keeps me up. But like just being that exhausted, it felt like I had run a mile or something, and it didn't. And it lasted like in that same state where like your husband had said, it felt like minutes, even though it was only a few seconds probably, and that's how it felt. It felt like it lasted so long.
Or you just couldn't breathe. Oof.
Yeah.
That's pretty terrifying. Another, I can't remember which one it was, but another one of the folklore that mentioned it, I want to say it was South America. They mentioned that it could be a witch, well, which I did mention earlier in what I read, but
Right.
more specifically, a witch that is astral projecting and sitting
Ooh.
on your chest.
That's what I wonder where like the chest pressure comes from. Like,
Yeah.
because some people say like your sleep paralysis demon will be the one sitting on your chest, but a witch, like specifically a witch, you know what I mean, that wants to sit on your chest and like, I don't know, what is she doing? Absorbing energy out of you, like
I'm
kind of
not
thing.
sure.
But that's creepy. But anyways, so that's my story. And it's a new story. It like literally just happened, so it's fresh and freaked me out. I'm still freaked out by it. But
Were you inspired to do any research about the building that you live in?
I am. I haven't done anything yet because I want to contact my landlord specifically because he owns like the building I live in has multiple different businesses below me. Just to paint the picture for people who are listening, like I live upstairs. I live on a second floor walk up, and there's 5 apartments up here, and then downstairs there are like 6 units, kind of below every apartment, and they're all businesses. So like he owns the whole thing,
Okay.
not just my apartments that I live in. He owns the whole building, so he might have record of like what like this whole,
Yeah.
you know. And I wonder if he doesn't own the whole block because he owns a lot of like rentals.
Oh, all right.
So I'm gonna have to ask him, but I'll definitely find out and we can update because I want to find out if there is anything like nefarious or like any
Even if there isn't, the types
just
of businesses that could have been below you, if anyone did Reiki below you, they're pulling out negative energy.
mm-hmm,
Has to go somewhere.
right.
So even something like that.
True.
Yeah.
True. I didn't think about that, but you're right. Well, that's all I have. I think for today. What do you have anything else you want?
Ooh. For today, no, I guess. Again, thank you for listening.
Yeah.
And I don't know, send us your stories. We're looking to doing a glitch in the matrix or Mandela effect type of episode, and we would love to add your submissions if you have them.
Right. It's so much more fun to have someone send in their specific stories than to have to look them up on Reddit.
Yeah.
So send us your stories. The email is susfactionpod@outlook.com. That's susfactionpod, POD, @outlook.com. And you can find our Instagram.
Also, at Susfaction Pod.
Perfect. All right. Well, we will see you guys next time. Thank you.